Hello everybody, this is Lucy Nathanson, child therapist and founder of �confidentchildren.co.uk, and this is Mia. She's joining us today. So I thought I would do a video today about transition because we're coming to that time in the year, at least in the UK and Europe, and I'm pretty sure America as well, where children are going into the summer and they're starting a new academic year from September. So it's really important that we think about this now. How can we set our children with selective mutism up for success for the new academic year? And as we know, this year has been such a challenge for children with selective mutism, and we really want to start afresh if possible for the new year. Before I talk about transition though, I just wanted to mention that some of you may have heard already that I'm going to be doing a book reading for children with selective mutism on the 10th of July. So if you can, please join. It's going to be an amazing event for children. It will be a live book reading with children with selective mutism on the screen. So we'll have it'll be an opportunity for children to see other children who find it hard to talk sometimes. And last time that I did this, it was really amazing. It was so empowering for the children to realise that they're not the only person in the world who finds it hard to talk sometimes. So I'll put a link to more information about the event in the comment section below, and please do join us. It will be a lot of fun and it will be lovely for the children to see other children. So let's get started with, Mia's looking at the screen. Good job, Mia. So let's get started with some transition tips. And please feel free to comment in the comment section below. Although on my screen, I'm not sure how I can see the comments. I don't know how to see the comments. Okay, well, anyway, I'll have a look later on. So say hello, please, if you're here joining us. So in terms of transition, as we know, moving to a new school year is anxiety inducing for children with selective mutism. And the key message here is that we want to make anything that is unfamiliar, anything that is new, as familiar as possible for our child ahead of them going into the new school year. So what is new? A new teacher, maybe a new teaching assistant, maybe a new classroom, maybe even new children. Maybe it's a new school altogether. So all of these new things increase our children's anxiety, and we may want to make these new things familiar ahead of September, so that when the child goes into that new school year, they already know the teacher, they already know the classroom, they already have seen their friends a lot over the summer. So we want to make those unfamiliar things familiar. So here are some tips that might help your child. Number one, if possible, we want our child to meet their teacher ahead of September. It's important that the teacher is, of course, briefed on your child before meeting them. We want the teacher to not ask your child any questions when they see them. We want the new teacher to be friendly, to say, hello, nice to see you, but not to ask them any questions. They can say, hello, nice to see you, and then just chat away. Be friendly to your child, but not put them under any pressure to talk. Ideally, we want to have a sliding in session with this person ahead of September. Now, it is difficult in these COVID times, of course, and different schools, different countries have different rules and regulations. Luckily, in most places around the world, things are starting to open up now, and I know that some schools are making allowances for children with selective mutism, so they're allowing sliding in sessions ahead of September, provided that they follow the regulations appropriately. So if we can have a sliding in session, if the parent can come in and if required, so if having the parent there will be useful, if the parent can come in, or if the child does talk to another school-based adult, maybe the current teacher or the current TA, if that person can be the child's talking partner and we can slide in a new teacher ahead of September, that is the ideal situation. If not, then online sliding in, it works, believe it or not, it actually works. A year ago or a year and a half ago, I was skeptical, but I've now done this so many times, and it actually does work quite well, with the child playing a game with their parent at home, and the new teacher coming on the screen saying a quick hello and then making an excuse to leave. the child getting comfortable talking to their parent with their empty screen of their teacher, the empty room of the teacher on the screen. And once the child is verbal in that situation, then the teacher being in the background and gradually edging closer. Now, of course, every child is different in terms of their anxiety levels. So it might not be that in one session the child will be talking with their teacher on the screen. We'll have to move at the child's pace. But that is a plan B if we can't do the real life sliding in, although the real life sliding in is always better. So the first tip is we want to introduce your child to their teacher ahead of September. We want that teacher to be friendly, briefed on selective mutism, and not put your child under any pressure to talk. We want them to say, hello, nice to see you, and to give your child that space to talk in front of them first. So that's tip number 1. Number 2, we want your child to visit their new classroom ahead of September. So if they can go to their new classroom, maybe with a familiar adult from this year that they're already comfortable with, maybe with a friend, and just spend some time in the room, maybe bring some colouring in, maybe bring a game, and just spend some time exploring the new classroom, just to get them familiar with the space ahead of September. Maybe we can even tell them where they'll be sitting, possibly, just to get them really, really familiar with that new environment. Number 3, if possible, transition book is really helpful for children with any anxiety issues. So transition book whereby we take a picture of the new members of staff, the new teacher, the new teaching assistant, the new classroom, and the child has this in a little booklet and they can look at this over the summer with their parent. We can look through the book, we can talk about the new teacher or the new classroom. Maybe there can be some fun facts about the new teacher, what their favorite color is, whether they have any pets, what their favorite animal is, just to keep this person and this place familiar in our child's mind over the summer. So that's another tip. Also, crucially, we want to have play dates over the summer. Play dates are golden, absolutely golden for children with selective mutism. They're an opportunity for our child to spend some time in their comfort place. We know for children with selective mutism, we want to reduce the child's anxiety by only introducing one variable at a time. And by this, we mean introducing a new place or a new person. And therefore, we want to always keep a consistent or a comfortable place or a comfortable person at any one time. And if we have a play date at your house, not at the friend's house for now, but at your house, we are keeping that consistent place. So the child is comfortable in that place in your home, and therefore they're more likely to feel comfortable with their friend rather than introducing that friend in a new place where they're unable to talk just yet. So so in a nutshell, they're more likely to talk to their friend at your house than they are at school, for example. So that's why play dates are so crucial. So if you can have play dates over the summer, invite over the friend. If possible, if the friend's parent, if they come along, if they can maybe have a cup of tea in the kitchen out the way, because again, we only want to introduce one person at a time to keep the whole situation manageable for your child. So we want to have these play dates, and ideally if you can be there with your child and the friend to facilitate the play, maybe acting as a talking partner, maybe delivering some kind of fun activities, some Play-Doh, some Lego, some drawing, some other talking games that we know that your child loves. So all of these strategies will help to prepare your child for the new year ahead. Now, as I said, playdates are golden because also it keeps the child communicating, or at least in front of, or at least familiar with somebody from school. We want to keep that link between home and school present over the summer. What we want to avoid is 6 weeks with no mention of school, no contact with anyone from school, because then your child will be going into school with, and everything will be brand new. We want to keep that familiarity around school. So if we can have play dates with friends from school over the summer, that is likely to help as well. So those are some tips I hope that some of this is useful for you. Please keep the play dates going over the summer. Please have slide in or introduce a teacher ahead of September. Please visit the classroom ahead of September. A transition book will be really useful. And also, there's another thing I was going to say. Yes, crucially, one of the most important things, have a meeting. Please request a meeting with the school 𝗙𝗀𝗀𝗀 to discuss your child's transition. What is the plan for September? We want to use each beginning of the year as a fresh start, a time to sit down and discuss your child. What has happened in the last year? Where is your child in terms of their talking this year? Where have we got to? And what can we do from September to set your child up for success? How many sessions will they be having per week? What will the sessions entail? Will parents be coming into school? I know for a lot of countries and schools that hasn't been possible up until recently, but from September, is it possible? Start that conversation with your child's school. Can we resume sliding in sessions from September? And if we can, what will that involve? So let's make a plan now for September, so that we go into September and we can start those sessions off straight away. Can you come in on the inset days, on those training days, just before school starts with your child, to just familiarize your child with the room again, with the teacher again, before day one when everyone is there? So have these conversations with the school now, ready for September. So I hope this has been useful, just to start thinking about this, because now is a time for us to really start thinking about this. And I know schools are often quite secretive and mysterious about who next year's teacher will be, but hopefully from now they should be making those announcements, and therefore we should be able to make a plan for the transition. I'll just have a quick look at the comments. Oh, thank you everybody, it's so lovely to see all your comments. Hello. Somebody says, how about transitioning to high school? Yes, this is a big one. I've been having quite a lot of sessions regarding this, online sessions, because quite a few of the children I work with are in year 6 and they're going to high school, and this is tricky for children with SM and harder. We know this. It will be it's likely to be anxiety inducing for them going to a new school. Number one, we want to visit the high school ahead of September. We want to ideally visit to walk around when it's quiet. Can you get in touch with the high school and request to, after school hours, if you and your child can just walk around, ideally if they can just leave you to it, just to walk around, just have a little explore with your child, just to get your child familiar with the new place, and ideally comfortable in that space, and in an ideal world, talking to you in that space. Can you spend some time in an empty room there with your child? Just bring some games from home or an activity from home to spend some time with your child there without a new adult to begin with. We want to get your child really familiar, as familiar as possible with that place ahead of September. So we want as many visits as possible to the high school. We need an allocated key worker. So what I've found talking to secondary schools is it is trickier in secondary schools. There is a lot more staff than in a primary school. It's not just one teacher for each class. With high schools, there are lots of teachers. So we will need a key adult, somebody who is that person who will build that rapport with your child. So if they can be introduced, not on that first visit when you go to just get your child familiar with the school, but after a few visits, once your child is becoming familiar with the school, can that key adult be introduced? It's important to stress to the school that your child will need a key adult. It's not that just if we just leave them, they'll be okay. We need an adult for them to build that rapport with, that adult who can be slid in, that adult who can start to build that talking relationship with your child, who can then, after that, be that key person to then help to expand on your child's speech, to then bring in a peer or other teachers over time. So they need a key adult. That's so important. We also definitely have a meeting with the 𝗙𝗀𝗀𝗀 of the high school to discuss the plan for next year. they may never have had a child with selective mutism before. So maybe some online training might be useful, or training might be useful for them, or some books on selective mutism might be useful. But we need to plan. It's so crucial. So meet with them and let them know what has worked for your child in the past, what hasn't worked for your child in the past. Probably just, not having a plan in place hasn't been successful, I'm assuming, but rather if we, just plan ahead, work out what those small tweaks, what small tweaks are important to set your child up for success. If your child already talks to a friend in their primary school, and that friend is going to secondary school with them, can your child be paired with that friend? Can they be in the same class with that friend? Can they be sitting next to that friend? And please find out who will be in your child's new class, or in your child's new school, sorry. So even if it's not one of their friends, if it's another child in their class, let's try to start building those friendships now. So let's have some play dates with the friend who will be in their new school. Start building those friendships now, so that when they go into high school or secondary school, there's already somebody who they are familiar with. And if possible, we want to pair them with that friend in September. Also for high school, again, it's so important that everyone has some form of understanding about selective mutism. So some training ideally on selective mutism, but at the bare minimum, if they can watch my do's and don'ts video. So if you go onto YouTube and just write Lucy Nathanson do's and don'ts, there's a 7-minute video there, which ideally, if that can just be shown or emailed around to all the adults who will be working with your child, that will really help as well. So have a meeting with the 𝗙𝗀𝗃, discuss what your child needs in order to set them up for success, to make it as easy as possible, what will minimize your child's anxiety around secondary school. Another point is that for some children, not all children with selective mutism, but for some children, they say, if I go to a new school where nobody knows that I don't talk at school, I'll be able to talk. And they have this hope because no one will know that I don't talk. And of course, that might happen, but it might not as well. So, we want to keep them open to that idea and say, they don't. We can say, yeah, you're right, that nobody at this school knows that you didn't talk at primary school, or they don't know, they weren't at your primary school. So if you talk, it will be normal. If you feel comfortable enough to start, it will be normal for you and everyone around you. So it can sometimes be a fresh start for children with SM, but at the same time, there's that fine line, and we don't want to be putting pressure on them. Of course, we want to maybe plant the seed in a gentle, subtle way, open them up to the idea, but not to, of course, make them feel any pressure. Equally for high school, sorry, lots of ideas coming to my head while I'm talking. If there aren't children from their old school coming along, if you can get in touch with or be buddied up with a child from their new school, that'll be great to have some play dates over the summer. If there's a summer school going in their high school or secondary school, if they can attend that, again, we don't want to overwhelm them, but if they can maybe go away for even half the day, go along for even half the day or a couple of hours, whatever will be make it accessible for your child. Every child is, of course, an individual, so I can't really give guidance that is suitable for all children. So you really need to think about your child and what will help them to what will make it as easy as possible for them to talk or to at least be comfortable in that new space. Have a think about your child and then go and have that meeting with the 𝗙𝗀𝗃 or a representative from the high school and let them know what hasn't worked in the past, what has worked, and how we can really set your child up for success moving forward. I'll just have a quick look through these comments. I've had so many comments. Thank you everyone for interacting. Lots of hellos, thank you. Oh, somebody says year 7 went well, great. Year 8 due to certain pupils making fun. My daughter is now home from school. Wish others could spend time and put themselves in my daughter's position. We had meetings. My daughter's okay around people and who she feels comfortable with. Yeah, it's so sad that I have seen this where secondary schools haven't been able to provide what our children need. And it actually, oh, I can just feel myself getting angry and like just thinking about it, because um if they had a disorder which actually um disrupted the school day, then of course the school would go out of their way to help them. But because they're silent and they're not disrupting the school day, then it sometimes they're not given that support that they need. So it's so important from now to have those conversations with the school before they join, and let's try to get them introduced to the teacher in advance. Let's try to get everyone briefed on SM. Let's try to meet with friends in advance. Let's have a friend who they're comfortable with sitting next to them. All these small things make a big difference to our children, and just give them that extra chance to start to talk in this new school, or at least feel comfortable in this school. And as I said, having that key person who starts to build that rapport with your child, hopefully from now during these visits, and can then meet your child maybe in the inset days or training days in September, and then can have those regular sessions with your child, is just so important, so important. And I really hope that when you speak to your child's school that they'll be open to doing some of this. I really hope so. Just looking at some of the other comments. Oh, thank you, Carolina, saying it's very useful. Somebody says year 7, when your child starts, get the SENCO to email every teacher to let every individual teacher know that your child has selective mutism. Handover from primary wasn't handed over. Yeah, and that's why let's do it now. Let's it's crazy to think that, you know, parents have told me that the secondary school staff didn't even know that their child had selective mutism. So let's do everything we can to prevent that happening. We want everyone to know that their child has selective mutism. Just some key facts about SM. If you've got my book, Understanding Selective Mutism, A Beginner's Guide, that's just 30 pages, and I made it brief on purpose because teachers are busy. They don't really have a lot of time. So if you can just give that book or a leaflet to them, just have a skim through with just some key points about selective mutism, or just send them a couple of my videos with some key points about selective mutism as well, just so that they do have that understanding. They don't put pressure on your child before meeting them. Donna says, thank you, Lucy. Cia is starting high school in September. Wow, I cannot believe that. I hope this has been useful for you as well. We really want, I know I'm kind of sounding like a broken record here, but we just want to plan ahead to kind of tick that box that your child has spoken in the place. So with you in the empty room, the new school, or in the new classroom, they've spoken with you there ideally, or at least with somebody who they are comfortable with. And in an ideal world, they've met their new teacher who is briefed on SM. And in an even idealer world, they've spoken to that teacher through some sliding in sessions in real life or online. Okay, so we've got one more question. This is my question. A new school could be a solution or not. My child has a very good group of friends in her current school, but as they are contaminated, she's scared to talk when they are around at school. She lit up when I talked about starting a new school with new kids, but I also do not want her to be separated from her good friends. Oh, it's such a dilemma. I do have a video about this on my YouTube channel called Should I Move, Change Schools? Something like that. If you just go onto YouTube, write Lucy Nathanson moving schools or changing schools, a video will come up. It is a dilemma because for some, and in that video I talk about this in quite a lot of detail, for some children changing schools is a new start, and they know that nobody in this new school know that I don't talk yet, and therefore it's a fresh start for them. So it can be really beneficial. But on the other hand, for some children, they go there and their anxiety is so high that they can't make that step. So it is a risk. It is a risk. I mean, watch that video, but aside from that, perhaps you could test it if possible. Would the new school agree to your child coming for some taster days? I don't know if that will be possible. Can you attend some different groups with your child to see how your child copes with new situations, with new children? just to test the waters. And also that will get, if your child goes into a new club or a new situation with new children and they are able to talk to them, that will give your child that confidence boost as well. So I would, before taking that leap, watch that video I mentioned, and also um, test it with new people, and to see whether how your child copes in new situations. And if you do decide to take that leap, follow all the advice in this video to set your child up for success. Go to the school in advance, meet with the teacher in advance, ensure they're briefed and slide them in, etc, etc. Donna says a new school have been great. C spoke on Zoom to the Senko. All thanks to you. Thank you, Donna. That makes me really, really happy. I'm so happy she's doing so well. So thank you everybody for all of your messages. I hope you found this video useful, and I'm going to keep my fingers and my toes crossed that your children have a smooth transition to the next year, the next academic year. Wishing you all the best. And also, as I mentioned at the start of this video, if you want to come along to the book reading on the 10th of July, that will be amazing. I will remember to post the links in the comment section below. It'll be amazing for you to join, and for your children to just see other children with selective mutism on the screen. I won't be using the phrase selective mutism. I'll be just saying everyone here finds it hard to talk sometimes, and I'm going to be reading you my book about a child who finds it hard to talk sometimes, and how they start to make those little steps forward. And there will also be, I don't know whether I've mentioned this yet, there may, I'm not going to say definitely, there may be an interview with a child who has actually overcome SM, a short interview where I'll be asking her how it was when she found it hard to talk before, and how and you know, and for her to just reflect on her experience. And I think it will be really, I don't know if this has actually been done before, I don't know, but I think it will be really quite hopefully special for the children to see another child who says, I used to find it hard to talk sometimes and now I can speak, and it wasn't easy, but I really believe that you can too one day. So something along those lines. So hopefully she'll, well, I don't want to make any promises, but that is a potential. And yeah, I have got a session now with a little boy, so I need to go. But I hope you've all found this video useful. Thank you for being here. Mia will just say goodbye to you all. Mia, say goodbye. Oh, she's very tired. Very, very sleepy. Oh, she's very sleepy. Okay, so I have to go. Have a lovely day, everybody. Thank you for being here, and hope to see you all very soon. Bye.